Achehe are Taisenolsa she are Nilchinal Kidigi she sto danol dis genius that all Nsago Benantin. We use video quite a bit nowadays to teach things that we all need to know. This morning I like to speak on something that's very dear to everybody, not only here, but around the world. Something that is important, not just to individuals, each one of us, but to community, to a nation, as a matter of fact, around the world. There are so many things that we have today, and some things, many of those things that we have are replaceable. They get old. For instance, you run out of money, or even lose your wallet with all the money you have. It's not all that tragic, because you can get another job and get some more money. Also, the furniture in our home, they get old. So you get rid of it and buy new furniture. Our television gets old. You throw it away, you get a new television. Also, our computer gets old. You give it away or throw it away and get a new one. So many things that we have, even our house, they get old, so we get a new house. Many things that we have in this world can be replaced. But there's one thing that cannot be replaced, and that's what I want to talk to you about. Hashined la na lihe da atai na lihe ne da hollonigi sato anide iki betsaske konne nada hilni. The thing that is irreplaceable is our elders. Nihi che, nihi nale, nihi masan. Our elders, grandpa, grandma, they're irreplaceable. Once they are gone, that's it. We have an opportunity to spend so much time with them until they leave us. They are so important, as I said before, to us individual, to a home, to a community, to a country, to a nation. Elders are very important. Why? Because they represent our past. Hade shin lede inatant iki ed ad biyeltan le. They have all that knowledge, story about all our past. Why is our past so important? some say, if you don't know your past, you have no future. Because our future is based on our past. That's why you see so many libraries out there. Every school have libraries. Every town has libraries. Why? Because it represents our past. That's why history is so important. Every school around the world teaches history. They make you go to the library, check out a book, and read about the past. But isn't it better to have someone you could sit next to, and that someone tells you what was the past as they saw it and as they experienced, so you could ask questions and they'll answer right then and there. You go to the library, check out a book on some history, you read it. You can't ask that book a question. So, our grandpa, our grandma, our elders are very important to our way of life and to our future. And I want to talk to you a little bit about that this morning. Nihiche, Nihimasan, Nihinale are all important because, as I said earlier, they represent our past. And we all need to know our past in order to have a future. That's why those of you who are going to school now, you have history. You're going to study that. But more than that, you have a home. You have a mother and father. They know some history. But your grandpa, your grandma, they know more because they experience so many things in their life and understand those things that were good, those things that were not good, those things that add to your life, those things that can take away part of your life. They also know and understand how you can survive all these challenges that comes with life. That's why elders, grandma, grandpa, are very, very important. They also love you. Maybe many of you remember when you were small, 4 or 5 years old, your grandma would hold you on her lap. Your grandpa will hold you on his lap and talk to you and tell you some things that they feel you should know and understand because they want you to have a good life. They want you to understand what life is like. Life is not just computer, laptop. It's not all that. Life is more than that. And that's what they want to tell you. They will tell you their personal experience, things that they went through while they were your age, things that their grandfather and grandmother told them, and to verify what they're telling you is what you need to know in order to survive in this world as a contributing member to your community and your society. Hashine la hanne dan lini lede yidaniya yedahinao kunzaho hastwisani das liki di yen hildahalne. Khala yodan hotne, they love you so much, they want you to succeed. Well, even when you cannot speak, they hold you on their lap and rock you, sing song for you, because they love you. They want you to succeed, not necessarily all in school, but in life. After you finish school, things that you need to know to succeed. That's what Grandpa, Grandma, nihimasan nihiche, indita nihinale, di yen datin do ye dahinand inanapetanes tagi di lato yen hiltahalne. Things that they had experienced and survived the challenges that we all face in life. So that's why I say, Hastwisani, elders are irreplaceable. Once they're gone, they're gone. And your knowledge of the past is gone. And when the knowledge of past is gone, you have no future. Just remember that. You know, when I was growing up, Grandma and Grandpa took time to tell you things, stories. They use stories for you to remember and understand what life is all about. I remember that one of the stories that was told to me, well, there are many stories. Stories of creation, why certain things were created, why certain things happen to us today, explanations for those. Also, stories of all kinds of monsters, things that affect life, things that are enemy to a way of life. Story about twins who went to the sun to get help and get rid of so many monsters, evil that exists on this earth at that time. So those are something that they teach you, and you could ask questions halfway and say, how about this, how about that? And they have answers for those. I remember a story about a young boy and a young girl, your age, those of you who are now 10, 12, 15 years old, this is your story. Things got so bad on this earth, like what we see today. War, people fighting each other, killing each other. Things were so bad that the Navajos who were put on this land were suffering. It was a drought, no rain. Nothing was growing. All animals are gone. All growth, like corn, everything that we use for food, all gone. People were dying. They tried everything. Just a handful of people surviving, desperately need help. They had 2 teenagers, maybe 12 years old, a boy and a girl, like you who are in school now. These 2 were asked to seek help from one of the holy ones, the changing woman, Stanatlehe. She had a home on an island somewhere on the west coast. They went to her home. And the changing woman asked them, "My dear children, why are you here? What do you want? What do you need?" These 2 children told a story of what happened on earth, what happened to the people. There's just a handful of us still alive, desperately hanging on to life. We need help. So, the changing woman opened the door to the east, and there they saw these 2, this boy and the girl, saw so many animals, sheep, horses, cattle, deer, every kind of animals out there. She asked, "Do you want this? Whatever you want, I can give it to you. You think this will help your people?" They said, "No, we don't want that." She went to the south, opened the south door in her home, and there they saw beautiful vegetations, corn growing, wheat growing, flowers, herbs, name it, everything that is green was growing. She asked, "Do you need this? Does your people need this?" They said, "No." Then she opened the door to the west, and there they saw turquoise, precious stone, gold, silver, name it, all the riches. In today's world, probably billions of dollars. She asked these 2, a boy and a girl, maybe 10, 12 years old. They look at each other. The changing woman said, "Will this help your people?" They said no. She then opened the door to the north, and there they saw a beautiful mountain, rain clouds raining softly, all vegetations that you need in this world, growing beautifully, rivers running. She asked the two, boy and a girl, "Do you want this? Will this help your people?" They look at each other and they said no. The changing woman turned to these two, boy and a girl, seeking help to save the people, to save the world. She said, changing woman said, "I showed you everything that the world needs, human beings need in order to survive in this world. And you didn't want any of those. What do you want? What do you think will help your people?" They said, "We want that little bundle. Lehonidi apane. Is this a sauce? We want that bundle of buckskin in the center of your home." She reached up there, brought it down. She opened it up and said, "You have chosen wisely." She unraveled it, and in that buckskin there were feathers, precious stones, and many other things in there. And she started telling them what all of these represents. Songs and prayers that went with all of this. She says to these two young Navajo boy and girl, 10, 12, 13 years old, your age, and said, "My children, you have chosen wisely. This bundle that you asked for represents all the things I have shown you. If you know this, stories, songs, and prayers that goes with this bundle, you will have all the things that I have shown you. It'll never leave you. You'll be safe." Well, I keep thinking about it. What if our today's kids went up there and asked by a Holy One, "What can I give you? What do you think we need to save the world, to save the people?" What do you think they might be asking if she showed them computers, laptops, television? They may be tempted to say, "Yeah, we want that." But smart boy and girl chose that bundle. And that bundle is what makes the world go around, provides food, provides everything that we need in order to survive in this world. That's one story. I made it real short. It's a long story. As a matter of fact, the changing woman said to these two, "Take this back to your people and have a 12-day ceremony, 12 days and 12 nights ceremony, using the story, the prayers, and the songs that I taught you. And so long as you have that with you, so long as you practice that, you will always have what you need to survive in this world." So they did come home, and their people were starving. Their people were sick. And they asked, "What did you get to save us, our children?" And they showed them that. And I cannot help but feel what those older people probably thought after telling them what they saw, what they could have gotten. But after they tell their story, they were blessed. And the changing woman says, so long as you keep this bundle, practice it every so often, you will never be deprived of anything again. So, a lot of things that we enjoy can't be replaced. But our elders, with stories like I just told you, cannot be replaced, irreplaceable. So, Sha'alchin, Sitsoke, Shanaleketa, Nasliniki, Bedashni, Nihimale, Nihiche, Nihije, Nihimasan, Nihinale, Ayode no ne. Love them. Listen to their stories. Let them tell you what they went through, how they overcame so many difficulties, so many tragedies. I learned a story about Fort Sumner, not by reading a book, but from our great-grandmother, who actually experienced Fort Sumner. Walk all the way over there, over 300 miles, suffering for 3 years. Came back with nothing but their faith and belief and stories that their grandfathers told them. That's part of the stories that very important to know and understand what happened to us in the past. How do we overcame? When I was your age, young boy, our parents, our community were prosperous. They didn't look like they suffered anything. They were happy, they were singing, they were laughing. They had 1,000 head of sheep, 100 farm. They had everything you need in order to have a good life. They didn't need welfare checks. They didn't need commodity food. They didn't have old people home. They took care of each other. Khadahalya, Hastwisani, Yadahalya, Pamale, Bijet and Learn. That's how what I saw back in 1930s and 1940s. No unemployment, zero. Everybody worked. 3 or 4 years old, you have a little job, getting wood, getting some buckets of water for a home. As you get a little older, start handling horses, start taking care of sheep, lambs, cattle, calves, help with the farming. Everybody worked. No unemployment, no welfare checks, no policemen, no jails, no courts. Why? Because they remember what was in that bundle, the teaching that went in that bundle. They all learned. Our education was our parents. Our education was our grandparents, elders. Our beliefs and tradition was taught to us every day, and we lived it. So, what I'm saying is, our elders, Astui, Sani, Nihimal San, Nihichele, Nihinale, Bahanet da Hollo, Benantin da Hollo. All these teachings that went on day and night, every day of your life. There was school, there was learning, and the library was the elders. And like I said, if you don't know your past, you don't have a future. That's why library is so important in every community, in every school. You go there and learn what was and how was it that we have overcome and survived. That's what is education. Navajo education was every day. No 8 to 5 or 8 to 3. No Saturday or Sunday off. No holidays. Teaching was 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Yego itahol shalchinda nahlini sito keshinalike ashine nihichele nihimasanle inde dan hinale dan lini yego baadahol ya. Take good care of your elders. Provide them a good home, a good loving home. Make sure they're comfortable. Make sure they get love every day like they had given you while you were growing up. You don't get rid of them like you do so many things when they get old. You turn it and get something new. once they're no longer with us. That's it. So I'd just like to say that today we have so many things that we are being challenged, challenging our way of life, challenging our belief, challenging our tradition, things that we cherish, all of that. And there's a way to maintain, preserve, and continue the way of life that your grandparents teach you, how they did it, how they lived through all those difficult challenges. Lato bitahol shalchin sitso keshanelike. Let's all work together. Don't just push your grandpa. Don't even push your mom or dad to the side and think that you know it all. You got much to learn, Shachin. You do that. You learn. You read. You listen. And you help preserve those stories, because you will need to tell that to your kids when you get old. Oh yeah, sure, I know what you're saying. Hey, I'm not going to get married. That's what I said. One day, when my grandpa and I were out in the woods, he hitched the horse to the wagon. We took a wagon out into the woods, and my grandfather said, "We're going to chop wood for firewood." Chiz di ke ho want to chizitten. So he took me on. And about halfway through, I got tired, and I sat down on a stump. And shortly, my grandpa come over, and he asked me, "How come you sitting down? There's work to be done. We got to load up this wagon with firewood." So I said to my grandpa, "Che, I don't feel like chopping wood." And he looks at me. "Why?" I said, "I'm going to school, Che. And I'm going to learn something. And I'm not learning how to chop wood. I'm learning the white man way of doing things." Then he sat down by me, put his arm around me and said, "Tui, let me tell you something. Suppose you drop out of school. You don't know whether you're going to finish the school or not. Suppose you drop out. What are you going to do? Yes, you're going to come home. And when you come home, you have to make a living like the rest of us. Meaning, you're going to have to chop wood. You have to make a hokan. You got to learn how to handle the sheep, the horses, the cattle, the farm. You got to learn all of that in order to make a life." And I'm listening. And he says, "Why do you need to know that?" because one day we're going to have to marry you off. Back in those days, you don't find a girl that you love and be your girlfriend or eventually your wife. You didn't do that back in those days. They arrange marriage for you. So my grandfather says, we want you to know how to do all these things. Handle sheep, handle horses, cattle, farming, chopping wood, making hoe gun, all of it. You need to know that so we could marry you off. Otherwise, nobody wants you. No family will want you as their son-in-law because you don't know anything. And I said, Chiche, I don't want to get married. And he laughed and said, we all say that. But you're going to get married. And when you get married, you need to know all of this. So you could take care of your wife, take care of your children, have a good home, have things that you need in order to bring food, clothing, supporting your kids and your wife. That's what we want you to learn to work. Learn to get up at the crack of dawn, because when you breathe in there, every bit of that ray, beams that come with dawn, you get outside in the morning and pray to get all of that pollen that comes with the morning dawn. Have it come into your hand, into your body, into your blood, so you would be strong, smart, intelligent, and do things that will benefit not only you, but your family and your community, your country. That was what they used to pound into our heads. And Sinikes, get knowledge. Honiya, be wise. Know the difference between what is good and what is not good. Know what is bad and what is good. What is evil, what is not. Also, when you be strong, there are things that come at you. Cold weather, you got to withstand that. Also, there'll be times when you need to use your strength to get something done. So be strong, not just with your muscle, but be strong in your heart. Know how to withstand criticism. Know how to withstand insults. Know how to withstand many things. Have a strong mind. Strong mind, strong heart, strong spirit. And they were not wrong. Those of us who are now old people understand and appreciate what they were saying. You will too when you get to be 80, 90 years old. And looking back at what your grandpa, your grandmother, and your Nelly have told you and taught you. Thank you very much for listening, And again, let's all take care of our elders, making sure that they're safe, especially these times of all kinds of problems that we face every day, including this horrible virus. Ata hoshnya, ni himale ni jele baada hoshnya, ni himasan hi chain hinala baada hoshnya. Ayode no ne. Make sure they're comfortable. Make sure they have things that they need in order to continue to survive in this day when we have so many challenges facing us.